Today, we'll be starting off with the landscape of female entrepreneurs in Singapore and the barriers they faced, followed by a sharing session by our esteemed guest speaker, Amanda Ang from August Bespoke. She will be sharing her entrepreneurship journey and give us an insight of jewellery customization process. We will end this webinar with a Q&A segment, quiz time, and an exclusive promotion announcement. We'll hope you learn something new from this webinar and also pay attention as there will be a short quiz with special prizes to be given away at the end of this session. Female entrepreneurs have succeeded in a wide range of industries across Singapore's economy. Notable standouts include Claire Chiang of Banyan Tree, Tan Hui Ling of Grab, and Rachel Lim of Love Bonito, among many. Female entrepreneurship is something close to my heart, and I believe there are unsung heroes in the marketplace and even at home. I will touch on some of the common barriers Singapore female entrepreneurs faced and provide some suggestions on how to address these barriers. Did you know that Singapore is one of the top 20 markets for female entrepreneurs? According to the Mastercard Index of Women Entrepreneurs 2019, Singapore placed 8 ahead of countries such as UK, Australia, Denmark, and many more. That said, like developed markets around the world where the gender imbalance is often 3 to 1, women-owned businesses are underrepresented in Singapore, constituting only 27% of all businesses and 13% of all sales in Singapore. The diagrams are from a joint research conducted by Accenture and Reconnect International and supported by the American Chamber of Commerce Singapore. Let's have our poll. Which industry do you think has the most women-owned businesses in Singapore? Educational services, arts and architecture, professional services, hospitality, or IT? We'll just give a couple of seconds. Which industry do you think has the most women-owned businesses in Singapore? And let's see the results. Wow, okay, majority of you, it's a quite close tie between educational services and hospitality, and the list is IT. Right, so let me share with you. In 2019, the top industry with the most women-owned businesses is professional services at 28.4%, and the least is architecture at 1.4%. So professional services mentioned constitutes consulting, accounting, and legal businesses. So according to the Accenture research, reaching an equal number of women-owned businesses and men-owned businesses in Singapore could add 95 billion to the economy, about 20% of Singapore's GDP. This is not a small feat. This will be a huge benefit for the Singapore economy. Hence, it's crucial to encourage and support female entrepreneurs in Singapore. By growing the number of women-owned businesses, it will strengthen and accelerate Singapore's productivity and economic growth. Based on the research, barriers faced by women's-owned businesses in Singapore can be categorized in 4 main categories. So let me share with you the first. The first is market access. Among women-owned businesses, business survey respondents, 65% pointed to market access as the top business challenge, while 35% found it challenging to identify growth opportunities. So you may ask, what can we do to make the market more accessible for female entrepreneurs? See, supplier diversity and inclusion programs, women-owned business certification, business matching platforms, and procurement mentoring will be a great start. We should encourage strong support and establish more female business networks. What's the second main barrier? Is financial access. It takes longer for women-owned businesses to raise capital, and they typically secure smaller investment amounts. Specifically, it takes a month longer for Singapore women-owned businesses to raise capital, while women-owned businesses' average share of venture capital funding over the last decade was a mere 1.3%. In 2019, only 2% of VC funding was given to Singapore women-owned businesses. To mitigate access to financing challenges, leading companies and banks are developing working capital and financial support packages, along with proactively working with women-owned businesses to make them more bankable. I will share more suggestions later on. Thirdly, enterprise capabilities. These capabilities are lacking as a result of the difficulties in hiring talent and filling up the professional skill gaps among the business owners themselves. Among women-owned business survey respondents, 9 in 10 women owners were interested in business development programs focused on upskilling, especially in areas such as strategy, finance, and technology. There should be more tailored upskilling events and external business training to help women-owned businesses bridge capability gaps. There are even self-development and online certifications available, such as Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, General Assembly, EDX, etc., which we can sign up to upskill ourselves. Remember that upskilling is a constant improvement for the future. And lastly, the last barrier is women-specific barriers. The formation and growth of women-owned businesses are severely impacted by challenges such as balancing work and family, navigating negative perceptions, gender bias, and a perceived lack of credibility. As many as 68% of respondents highlighted balancing work and family and other responsibilities as a significant challenge, especially in meeting children's needs and family expectations. There is a need for well-designed mentorship programs, which play a crucial role in helping women overcome entrepreneurship hurdles, as well as targeted campaigns on the critical role of women as business owners. Something interesting that I gathered while I was researching and preparing for this webinar is that one important theme to empower female entrepreneurs is to be their cheerleaders. It is not an easy journey, and they need that assurance to keep them going. Large businesses, financial institutions, governments, and non-governmental organizations can all play a critical role to help include women-owned businesses in the business community and to provide them with the support needed to succeed. I am proud to be from UOB Asset Management. We stand to empower women through women investing by creating awareness and improving female financial literacy. Also, as part of the UOB group, empowering ladies with their UOB Ladies Card and recently a UOB's Ladies Saving Account. Before I end with my presentation section, I would like to add that one way to assist removing financial challenges is for us to start investing in ourselves and towards your financial goals, such as your startup capital. Especially if you do not have the time, you can start investing using Robo advisory, such as our very own UOBAM Invest app, which is customizable to your risk profile, goals, and investment horizon. With just minimum $1, you can start your customizable investment journey with us. I would like to conclude my section with an inspirational quote. Know that you can start late, look different, be uncertain, and still succeed. Without further ado, we'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Amanda Ang. She is the owner and founder of August Bespoke, a custom jewelry house. She is certified in diamonds and colored gemstones by GIA in New York City. She is passionate about supporting female entrepreneurs and is excited to be building a company with a heart in a traditional male-dominated industry. Let's welcome my dear friend and our client, Amanda Ang. Hi, Amanda.
Guys. Morning. Hi, Priscilla. Thank you for having me. So can you guys type in the chat if you can hear me? Because this is the most difficult part. We have technology. Can you guys hear me? Can you type in the chat?
Yeah,
Yes? Okay,
awesome.
very good. Priscilla, I
Yes,
love that quote. I'm like, I need to put it on my wall. What is it?
yes.
You can start late,
You
be
can,
uncertain. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
you can look different, you can be uncertain, but you still can succeed. Yes, we should have these mantras to empower each other as ladies. Yeah.
Need to print it on a t-shirt, wear it every day.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, thank
Girl
you. Thank you.
power.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us. I know you're a very busy woman and your hours are US hours sometimes and all that. Thank you for your time.
Right.
I think that many of us are attending that doesn't know about your amazing bio and your resume.
Mm.
Just a bit of intel. You graduated from Boston College with a degree in finance, worked at Goldman Sachs in New York, and helped launch a couple of Asian IPOs. What made you want to leave that Wall Street chapter, move into a startup world, and in the end started August Bespoke? How did you start? Why did you start?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story, guys. And I don't tell the personal part of it, online so much. But since we're here to talk about female empowerment, right? Yeah, life was great, right? I was on managing director track, right? I studied finance, so working on Wall Street was the natural progression. For me, actually, my dad just got sick, and I was working 5 a.m. to midnight in New York. The reason why I worked so crazy hours is because we were covering like the Asian market from the US. So when I woke up in the morning, we had to figure out what happened overnight and then call our US clients, right? And I distinctly remember my own mother had to send me an email because that's how busy I was. And she was like, one time just before I found out my dad got sick, she said, "Hey, you missed your dad's 60th birthday." So that was one big red flag in my mind. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so busy. I missed something so important. And then when my dad found out that he had like a huge tumor in his kidney, I guess everything sort of added up. And in my mind, I asked myself, okay, I've been in the US for 7 years. I went to college there. I worked on Wall Street. I said, is this really what life is all about, right? The person that's most important to me is, maybe he doesn't have a lot of time. So that actually started me on my journey. I didn't intend to join startups. It was just more like me waking up one morning thinking, okay, is what is life about, right? What is it that's very important to me? So after that point, because I had a lot of these conversations with my dad where he actually said to me, life is short, right? Don't get to my age and regret things you didn't do.
Mm,
I started to look at life very, very differently. I started to think, okay, what are my passions? They always say you don't know how the dots connect until the end.
mm,
And for me, I started doing just things I love, right? I moved to Paris to study French. I worked in a food magazine. I then decided to go the opposite. I had been, at Goldman, which is a huge American investment bank. And I decided, okay, what would it be like to build a business? And at that point, of course, we all love to travel, right? So I joined a travel startup. I was one of the first few employees of a startup actually that was a predecessor to Airbnb experiences. If you guys have ever heard of Airbnb experiences, basically you can go and like do unique things all around the world. But we were the predecessor to that in Asia before they started, right? So I was like living in Bali, all that kind of stuff. So it was until we got acquired. So that startup did well. We got acquired by a Japanese e-commerce company. And then interestingly, at that point, a lot of my friends started to get engaged. So it's funny, you guys probably know there's always like waves, right? People get married, everybody gets married at once, and then the next round. So I had like this wave of friends, and my mother was a gemstone collector, right? So I had actually grown up with gems and jewelry, like going with her to the jewelry store, looking at her making stuff my whole life. So at that point, when my friends started getting engaged, I would be like the secret shopper friend that would go with them to all the stores, right? So I would sit there and listen to, I guess, what the salespeople were saying.
mm,
And for me, I realized that the industry is not really set up in a way to help people, because the jewelry industry is set up in a way where you go in, they're like, oh, hey, Priscilla, what you want to look at piece A or piece B, and then you're like, oh, this is not really my style. I mean, ladies on the chat, how many of you guys have walked into a jewelry store? You're like, this is not, type yes, okay, if you guys know what I mean, right? You walk into the store, you're like, this is not exactly me. But then they're like, oh, if this is not you, then what about this? And then what about this? And what about this? So in a way, so you guys know what I mean, right? The industry is set up to sell you the stuff that they want to sell you, not to necessarily get to know you. So as I was there, like with my friends, who are, by the way, engagement rings are not, is like probably the biggest investment that they're making outside of house, car, and stuff like that. Plus is a super symbolic thing. And I realized the process was just super stressful. So that's how I decided to start August Bespoke, given my background. And I guess then later on my experience starting a business, I said, oh, this is a problem I'd like to solve because they're stressed out and they need help. And these people are not neutral parties. They're just, every jewelry store out there is there to sell you the stuff that they want to sell you, which I'm sure you guys know, right? So anyway, so that's how I started. That's how I went from Wall Street to this. It was a bit accidental, I guess.
Yeah, it's amazing because I guess all coming from an Asian background and that pressure of doing well, do I have a professional career, and finance was, and it's the Wall Street is like a dream, if you know finance industry, and it's great that you also had that revelation what is important to you, and that kind of stirred you, and I guess you're in a much happier place, right? I can see, you are radiant.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a different life, guys, right? It's funny, we always say like grass is greener on the other side, right? Because if I'm very honest with you, there are days where I wake up, I'm like, wow, how nice it would be to have a salary and just wake up. When you have a job, right, there are days where you can like be at work but like mentally checked out. I'm like, nah, that doesn't exist for me, right? I don't get to wake up and just get a paycheck and chill. I wake up every day thinking about what it is I need to do and how I'm going to grow the business and help my clients. And so yes, it is, there are days that it goes, wow, or I think at least, wow, it would be nice, but of course then there are reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Thanks, Amanda. Okay, so like just now I was mentioned about the 4 barriers,
Yes.
like the market access, financial access, capabilities, even like a woman specific barrier. I believe that you have personally faced one of these challenges or even more. What is the what was the challenge that you faced, and how did you overcome them, and in that sense, what would you like to impart to other female entrepreneurs who are facing the same issues? And do share.
Okay, so guys, like Priscilla mentioned, the 4 problems, right? There's like market access, there's entrepreneurial skills, access to funding, and then like the life balance side, right? The personal side. So out of these 4, I would say I faced 3. I think market access was one of them. For those of you who don't know, the jewelry industry is really an old boys club. It's interesting because the industry is basically catering to us, right? As women, we're the ones who wear jewelry. But the ironic thing is, behind the scenes, a lot of them are men, right? The people who run the companies actually hold the power and the authority are actually men. So when I first got into the industry, I was basically this young Asian woman going to industry events. And the guys used to think that I was in sales, right? Because let's say I would go to a Hong Kong event and there'll all be these like young 20-something beautiful women basically wearing jewelry and standing around, while all the men who are like the gemstone cutters and the buyers and the people owning businesses would walk around. And they would think I would be sales. And I'm like, no, I'm actually here to buy diamonds, right? And I would get a look of, okay, you're like young and then you're this Asian woman. And so I was probably one of the very few jewelers who is like really owning her own business and therefore her clients. So I think it was a bit of an old boys club that I had to be very shameless and say, I'm here to do what I need to do. And then over time, of course, as they work with me, I get a lot of respect, right? Because I'm a very picky person. I don't just buy just because they show me things. I actually understand how to look at quality and stuff like that. So I think Old Boys Club was something that I personally faced. And then on the skills front, I think, you know, I had studied finance, right? So I know how to read like income statements, balance sheets, and like figure out valuation. But I never learned things like digital marketing, right? How to actually, I don't know, like everything about digital marketing. Like before I started this business, I was never on Instagram, right? I'm old school. I'm like from the decade of Facebook, right? So I didn't know anything about Instagram. I didn't know what a sales funnel was, you know. And pre-COVID, I didn't actually teach classes online. Like now I teach a class every month. Right now I'm used to being on Zoom, but it just is not easy, I guess, having the courage to put yourself out there, because you just don't know how to do these things. No one, you can study marketing, by the way, in school, guys, and still be like, oh my God, I got to build my own brand. It's a different thing, right? It's one thing when it's theory and another thing when it's your own business. So I think on that front was, you know, there's stuff that I was like, oh boy, I got to get up on this. And then on the, I guess, women specific barriers, I think, I don't know, ladies, I don't know if you agree with me, but women, we are always plagued with self-doubt, right? Type yes if you guys understand what I mean. I think that kind of negative perception, self-doubt is really the thing that I feel limits us. So you guys know exactly what I mean, right? So, and it wasn't, and I guess it's a little bit of society. This is why we're on this call, right? We have to change things on a structural level. Because even my own mother, guys, my mother is a gemstone collector. She is the reason why I know what I know. And my mother, multiple times, if I tell you the honest truth, when I was starting this company, was like, are you sure about this? You know, because in her mind, she's like, you are on MD track at Goldman. Like, what are you doing with your life? And when I was working at the startup, she said things to me like, is this even a real job? Right? This is a real comment my own mother made, right? Is this a real job? Do you have insurance? Like, and I remember thinking, you know, here I am like so super happy. And that's the comment that my mother can make. So I feel like we are, as women in particular, for some reason, given input from society. And I guess in that sense, it's no wonder that we have self-doubt. Right. So I think I faced that. There are many times along the way I was like, you know, like here I am spending my own life savings trying to build something. And then but then my peers who I started out at Goldman with are like VPs, have houses, you know, so it's like you have to try and, I guess, disconnect from all these societal expectations. And that's something that, you know, I had to do a lot at the beginning when I was starting this, and really tell myself that I can do this. Yeah. And I think, Priscilla, you asked me a question about advice, right? That I have for other. I mean, how many of you guys are thinking about starting your own business? Can you type yes? I'm curious. Thinking about it, right? It doesn't have to be like concrete idea. Okay. So I guess you guys are here to get the advice. Okay. So advice is key. Wow. This is awesome. I love to see all these yeses. Okay. You see right there, you know, Janice, you said something small. This is, again, I feel like it's women, us, in a way, we undersell ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, we say, yeah, I do something small. And like men have no problem being like, no, I'm going to take over the world. They have not done anything. They have not ideated. They have not tested. They're like, no, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to like crush this market, right? This is why men do well, right?
Yeah.
We do something small. But anyway, so I have a couple of pieces of advice, right? Just starting is good, by the way, Andrina. Just starting is good. So the first piece of advice, I guess I think I have 4 things to say, okay? Number 1 is to really do something on the baseline that you enjoy, right? Like for me, I love jewelry. I grew up with it. You know, I love looking at jewelry. I love making it. And there's so many parts of my business that I really enjoy, right? I love to meet customers. I love to get to know them. You know, for some people, like meeting people is not a thing. Like for me, I really enjoy it, right? You don't have to pay me to do it. I do it for fun. I love, you know, like building a brand. I didn't know what it took to build a brand, but as I was doing it, I realized, oh, I love planning my Instagram. I love like working on my packaging. Like I love like having ribbons, you know, guys, I have to tie some ribbons at the end of this, but I love all these kinds of things. So for me, that part doesn't feel so much like work. So ladies, I don't know what your passion is. Like if you love like knitting or whatever it is that you love, I feel like you can start a club. And as they say, if you love something, you're already 10 steps ahead of people who don't. Because there are a lot of people who get into industries they're not super interested in. You guys know what I mean, right? They'll start something, they're not really into it. And if you love it, people will see it right away and you'll be ahead just on that. Okay, so that's the first piece of advice. Do something on a baseline that you love and enjoy. The second thing I would say is really try to pick something, or I guess a problem that you want to solve that makes the pain of entrepreneurship worthwhile, right? Because we talked about having doubt, having the family question you. And you're also going to wonder, okay, is this trade off worth it? So I think, at least for me, it's important to have a reason why you're doing what you're doing. For me, I'm trying to solve a problem. I feel like most people don't have the right information that they need in order to make the best decision for them. I think the industry is geared in a way that is not helpful to them. And for me, I want to fight against that, right? I also feel like there is a problem in, I guess, the lack of representation in the industry. For me, the more I go to events, the fewer women I see, the more I want to do this business, because I want to hire women. This is part of my vision, right? I want to hire lots of women, and push that, right? So for me, and we'll talk about like the pain of entrepreneurship later, but there's a reason why I am suffering. I choose to suffer to solve a problem. Yeah, so that's the second piece of advice. Have something you want to solve that makes the pain worthwhile. The third piece of advice is, I guess, to be very honest with yourself and ask yourself like what your priorities are, right? Because if your priority is, I want a stable income, I want to go home at 5 o'clock and be with my kids, that is a great goal. And to be honest with yourself and say, that is what I want, I'm happy with a job, is important. Like right now, entrepreneurship is sort of like the very attractive, like in thing to do, you know? But if that's not for you, I feel like it's very brave to stand out and be like, not for me, thanks, right? I want to go to my job and go home and do other things. If of course you want, you know, more flexible hours, like, you know, if you're like me, maybe I wanted to build something for myself. I don't know if you guys like relate to this, but I'm very good at building things for other people, not so good at doing things for myself. So this business is actually like me challenging myself. And ladies, you type yes if you know what I mean, right? Me challenging myself to build something for me. Because I think women are fantastic support people. You know, men walk in the room, they're like, we have this vision. We're like, how do we help you do da 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 da? And this is like my own homework to myself. Like, I'm gonna build something for myself, right? And you know, I heard another woman entrepreneur say this, and I find this very interesting. Um, that when you start your own business, you don't have a cap on your earning potential. I don't think people talk about this enough, right? Because we always think about mitigating risks, right? We were like, oh, but you know, if I have a job, I always have a salary, right? So the baseline is protected, you know. But technically, the upside to entrepreneurship is you're gonna earn as much as you can, and you are the only person to limit yourself on that front, right? So my third piece of advice is just to be honest and ask yourself what your priorities are, right? And based on that, make a decision. And my last piece of advice is that baby steps are still steps. You know, Priscilla said something earlier, right? You can look different, you can be uncertain, right? Women, we are always uncertain. I feel we're very in touch with ourselves and very honest in saying I don't know, and you know, like I'm not sure. I something small. Let's see how it goes. We're very honest about that. But taking action, I think any action is still action, even if it's down the wrong path, right? I feel like I've gone in lots of loops. I go, oh, what if I, you know, I made the mistake before. I go like make jewelry and then hopefully people will buy it, and it didn't work out. And then this exactly, then I was like, wait, this is precisely the problem that people have, right? You cannot guess what people want. This is about what they want, not about what you want. So baby steps, ladies, of any kind are still steps. So that's my advice.
Wow, that's so very impactful. I also learned so much
I don't know,
today.
ladies, do you
It's
all know
really
what I
good.
mean? I hope this is helpful. I can talk for 2 hours about this, but yeah, that's the thing that came to mind.
No worries. Yeah, so for the audience who have questions, do pop in your questions in the Q&A icon. It's in the control panel. Yeah, we'll address your questions later on. Sorry, Amanda.
No, okay.
Yeah. So there's one thing that we want to talk about also. In terms of your personal finance,
Yeah.
investments in particular, how did you raise your startup capital? Did you get it from somebody? Did you save? And how did you, do your own personal investments?
Yeah. So guys, maybe I'm a little bit different from other entrepreneurs, but I was in a way fortunate enough. I had a job that made me decent income, right? I think I had a lot of savings from that time. And for me, having gone from like Wall Street to actually, remember you guys, I mentioned I was joined a travel startup in between. I saw my colleague constantly pitching to investors, like it would be his whole job, right? Even though we're supposed to be doing operations. And I guess made a note to myself that I didn't want to start my own business to then be answerable to yet more people. So and this is different from everybody, right? I made a personal choice to be self-funded. Like I funded myself. So when I was starting out going to industry events, I paid for my hotels. I paid for my GIA education. Like I spent money just investing in my own skills, right? Digital marketing. I did all these webinars and these are not cheap things, by the way, right? I was self-funded. And I think, I just made a decision, I guess, to invest in myself. That's it. And I just didn't want to spend time in meetings being like, look, this is my vision. Please give me money. Because I was like, no, I believe in it. So I'm going to go serve the customer and, grow it from there. Yeah. And in my personal investing, I think, I don't know, ladies, if you're busy like me, but having been in the industry that I'm in, I think I realized that investing is a full-time job. And I have a full-time job, right? Running my own business. So, apps like Robo advisory really make a difference in terms of you put your money there, right? As Priscilla said, it takes $1, you put your money there and you just have to think about it, right? For me, I believe in like indices, right? Because it's very hard to beat the index. So that's something that I do. But whichever path that you guys choose, I think ultimately and at the end of the day, you have to decide what it is that's important to you. For some people, they want the house and the car more than they want a business, and that's great too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Amanda. For interest of time, I think many of us believe that, especially for me, I've never gone through a custom jewelry process. So
Yeah.
what is it like? Talk me through.
Okay, so
Yeah.
ladies, how many of you guys have been to a store and then you think, oh, this is not exactly me? Type yes in the chat. Walked into a jewelry store and you're like, oh, this part is nice, but maybe this part not so nice. Yeah. So for your own awareness, because I teach a class and people don't realize this, which is interesting to me, but a lot of the stuff that you see in stores are like just made in factories in China, right? Sorry to say. It's actually off a conveyor belt. They make them in huge volume. And then the stores just, they inflate the price and they get a crazy discount. I'm sure you guys have seen, right? 80% off Valentine's Day. You're like, wow, that's a big discount. So for us, I take a completely different approach. I actually take 10 steps back and not talk about jewelry. So the customization process with me and with August Bespoke starts with me getting to know you. So for example, if Priscilla comes in, right, and wants to have a chat with me, I first of all, if I get to see her, then look, Priscilla's wearing some jewelry, right? So I can maybe read that, yeah? And then I say, okay, Priscilla, so what is your favorite kind of jewelry? Like what kind of stuff do you wear on a day-to-day basis?
On a day-to-day basis, I usually wear earrings.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of earrings do you like?
I usually wear my diamond earrings, the studs.
So why do you think you wear your diamond studs the most?
Because I think it's practical. It just goes with everything, and I don't need to take out because I'm super lazy. I don't want to take out when I shower and put it back. I just wear it 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Priscilla, do you have a favorite color?
Yes, my favorite color is blue
Why is your favorite color blue?
because it's UOB's color.
Guys, I don't know if her boss is online, but you should give her brownie points for saying that. Okay. Any other reason why you like blue?
No, because it's very calming. It relaxes me. Yeah, I like
Understood.
blue. Yeah.
So you guys, yes, I asked a little bit about jewelry, but actually I spent a lot of time getting to know her, right? What she does in her free time, right? Is she a rock climbing person, right? Does she like to get dressed up to the nines? Is she more like jeans and t-shirt kind of person? I think that is the start of me understanding her style. And based on that, usually what we do is we then do some window shopping online. So I would encourage Priscilla to go on Pinterest to just explore, because for me, half the fun about jewelry is just like learning what's out there, right? Rather than limiting her to, hey, Priscilla, look at these three things, you should buy one of them. I want her to, let's say, if she said earrings, studs, practical, right, go with everything, type that into Pinterest, see what shows up, save a bunch of pins. And then her and I will have a separate conversation where her pins will give me a sense of the things that she likes and maybe help her discover things that she didn't know she would like. Because I can give you guys all the answers, right? I always tell my clients, guys, you tell me your stuff, I can choose for you. But part of the fun about customization is discovering what you like. So then her and I will have this discussion. I will give her my professional input, right? Maybe there are ways that we can take different elements from different things she likes and combine them, right? Maybe there are some practical considerations about, oh, she wants to shower with it. Maybe this is not such a good idea, or she is a rock climber. Then I'd be like, maybe don't make emerald earrings, because they're very fractured. So we go through the process of understanding, I guess, the practical considerations that maybe you wouldn't know on your own. And then we start designing. So we create like 3D models. I don't know if you guys are on Instagram, but you can go to @August Bespoke. You guys can see in my stories and in my posts, right? We create 3D models for you to preview the thing that you're making. Sometimes for us, we actually create wax models for very complex rings that you can try on your finger before we craft it, right? And then we go ahead and craft it, and then I come and deliver it to you. So I don't know, do you guys want to see some custom pieces? Because I don't always have jewelry with me. Type yes if you guys want to see it. I don't always have custom jewelry because usually we make it and then I deliver it. But I am delivering jewelry today, so you guys got lucky. How many of you guys like rings? Type ring if you like rings, and then I see ring. Okay, wow, that's a lot of rings. Okay, all right. So maybe you guys can guess what stone this is. Can you guys see?
Ooh, is it emerald?
So you guys all say emerald. This very good guess.
Oh.
So guys, it's not an emerald, because one of the things I tell my clients, you've got to think about like the practical side of things. Emeralds are very fractured. Can you guys see how clear, maybe again, this is a world premiere, okay? But maybe you guys can see just how clear this stone is, right? Yes, there are diamonds on the side. That is true. There are diamonds on the side and it's in yellow gold, but this is actually a green tourmaline.
Oh,
Yeah, so this is an emerald cut green tourmaline. And this is what I always say is a very great kind of alternative to emeralds, right? Because you get the color, you can get fantastic clarity, right? And not worry about the maintenance, because a lot of emeralds are very fractured, so they need to be filled with oil. So if you're cleaning them, then the oil can come out, you need to get re-oiled. So that's something about, that's a little bit tricky. Okay, so rings. How many of you guys like earrings? So I know Priscilla is in the earring. You can type earring if you like earrings. And then maybe I show you guys. Okay, so we recently made this as a gift. This is really nice. Do me a favor and don't post this yet, okay? You guys should post stories and tag me, by the way, but maybe not this one. So this is called, it's like our Duchess studs. So basically what it is a color changing garnet. So what happens is it looks champagne in certain light and then more pink on the other side. And we put like little diamonds on the top. So studs. Can you guys see?
Yes.
I'll post them on my Instagram. So follow me on Instagram. You want to see the close up. I know on Zoom sometimes it's like not super obvious. But you know, this is the kind of color that goes with everything. You wear white, you wear black. It's very neutral, right? So this is the kind of stuff that I think is very popular. Of course, we make like diamond studs, right? You know, Priscilla, you say you wear diamonds, right? So these are diamond studs. Super nice.
Nice.
Very pretty. Anyway, so you know, we make all kinds of rings. Like women, sometimes they make their own, you know, eternity bands. It doesn't have to be for wedding bands and stuff, but everybody likes different things. So you guys want to see more, just go to my Instagram, August Bespoke. I'm there. You guys will see.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's so amazing, Amanda. And you know, you have a good eye, the knowledge. And I know it's very impactful. That I think a lot of us have learned a lot. And you know, by you sharing your journey, um, you know that we can some kind of summarize it, and then you follow your passion.
Yeah.
You know, make sure that suffering is worth it. Be honest with yourself, and you know, always take action, even though you did something, you know, you made a mistake. At least you did something, right? And I can see there are a lot of questions being raised.
Okay.
You don't mind if I ask one
Yeah.
first question? So
Yes.
the first question is, do you procrastinate a lot during your entrepreneurship journey, and how long did you save up before investing in your business?
Um, I'm human. So of course I procrastinated, guys. Come on. I had many days where I was like, I am just gonna watch Netflix today. And it is what it is because I don't feel like stressing about my business. Let's be real. Like, who doesn't do that, right? So procrastination is clearly a part of the journey. If you don't procrastinate, it's probably not scary enough, right? Because if it's not scary, you would just do it. Right? So that's one. I'm human, so I do that. Um, in terms of how long I saved, I mean, I worked for 5, 6 years, right? Just on other people's dreams, right? Before I started doing my own. Yeah. And I don't think it's the duration that matters so much because depending on your business, you may not need a lot of startup capital. And this is something I realized as well. As I was doing bespoke jewelry, I realized like, rather than putting a lot of money, like being like a typical store, I borrow $5 million and like put it into jewelry that I try to sell. I do custom. So there's no initial output. I buy things when people want to make them, you know, is what they call, I guess, just in time or whatever they call it, right? So there is no initial outlay. I make that choice. I also made a choice not to have a physical store because I didn't want the stress of that fixed cost. And I also didn't want to pass the cost on to customers. My customers are all around the world. Now they get on Zoom with me. Sometimes they never see me. I ship their jewelry to them, right? But in doing that, I create a very lean business model. And I encourage you guys to think about this for yourself. Do you really need a physical location? Can you do it out of your own kitchen if you're like making stuff and selling, right? Are there small ways to test your idea without spending a lot of money? I think that is a good question, you know, because sometimes the more money you raise, the more money you waste on things you don't need. There are ways to hack the whole process. And if you guys want to have separate chats with me, we can. But you guys understand what I mean? I hope that answers the question.
Right. Thank you. Um, just curious because you know you mentioned about like 5 and 6 years. It's not about the duration, but when you are working, how much do you usually put aside? You know, in terms of your savings.
Well, you know what I realized? I don't know about you guys, but I realized I need very little to survive. Like, if you guys really, you know, when I was working in my startup, right? My mom would look at me as I'm walking out of the house because I was like living in Bali on and off for 2 years. I would just live out of a suitcase, right? Live out of a suitcase, and then just eat local food. Like, so for me, I guess I saved a decent amount because I just was like, I don't need that. I asked myself, do I need this? Is it gonna bring me the joy that I hope it does, right? Because guys, the opposite can happen because I knew a lot of people at Goldman, they were really unhappy with life and they did the opposite. They spent money to feel better about themselves, right? The Marc Jacobs bag will make you feel better for 2 hours. And then you go back to, oh, I hate my life. So I think if you have what I mentioned to you guys earlier, you have a problem you want to solve, right? There are things you love to do. You will naturally want to do those things because believe me, when everybody wants the new iPhone, they find the money some way, somehow, right?
Right.
So that's how I thought about it.
Wait, thanks for sharing, Amanda. There's a lot of a lot of good comments, good questions. They find you very inspiring, which is very good. There's another question like, how would you recommend taking baby steps towards starting something on your own if you have a full-time job?
Yeah.
What was your advice?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So I think number one, you have to kind of think about the problem you want to solve. And for me, I find that mantra of like be your own customer to be very relevant, right? I don't like the tacky jewelry that I see, so I would not buy that. So I'm like, I would like to make stuff that I would like to wear. So the same should apply to you guys. Is there something in your life that you feel you're not happy about and that you think you can do better than other people? I feel like that ideation you can do in your regular life. It's being, mindfulness, right? If you guys are trying to practice mindfulness, which we all are right now, is to go through your life with your job and try to think about things that you find frustrating, right? And start there, right? And like I said, you don't have to have a lot of money to start that. It's more like you try to solve the problem one way or another. Like I have a friend now, she's trying to start a fashion brand, right? But before she goes and pays for her entire collection, she like goes shopping with her test subjects. She looks at what they buy. She does her market research so that she also, remember we talked about self-doubt, she gains greater confidence as to the problem she's trying to solve, her target customer is, what her competition's pricing is like. These are things you can do without quitting your job. Because as you slowly come up with the solutions to those things, then I think you will have the confidence, right? And like my friend who's starting a fashion brand, she can like buy testings on Taobao, right? And start to sell them and go, oh, this sold, this did not sell. It does not take $500,000.
Wow, thanks,
Answer your
Amanda.
question?
Yeah, I
hope
did.
so. The anonymous person. That was your question.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a very interesting question. Okay, so there's a question about saving for retirement because the question is, I have some savings, but I'm concerned about my retirement and all. Do you think I will put all my money? Should I put all my money into the business?
So guys, okay, I will give you what is the correct textbook answer, and then I give you like my real answer, okay? So I think the textbook answer is you should 100% save for your retirement. I mean, yes, right? You should use the Robo advisory app, right? I think the smart investment people always say, you just put money away because money you don't see is money you don't spend. So I think that is genius, right? And that's something I try to do. And I think everybody should do that because, and also more importantly, like when you're buying a Starbucks coffee, you can ask yourself, do I need this $8 coffee right now? Or, is it really going to change my life? And try to, I guess, separate yourself from like spending that is very emotional spending, just to make yourself happy. Try to solve the underlying why am I not happy as opposed to buying things. That's one. So you should definitely save for retirement. I think for me, guys, because my dad got sick, I went through this like life epiphany. I read The Alchemist, if anybody's read The Alchemist, right? One of the things in the book is like, am I not chasing my dreams because I'm afraid that if I fail, I will have nothing left. I don't know if you guys heard that quote, but when I read that in the book, I was like, is this me? Is this gonna be me, right? Am I not pursuing my passion because I'm just scared that if it doesn't work out, I will be a failure and have nothing left? So for me, I was all in. For me, I was like, there is only 100% commitment or no, which is probably not the most prudent thing. Like I say, guys, textbook and reality, right? But if you can, maybe balance both, right? Do a little bit of both, right? Because when my dad got sick, I was like, we are traveling, right? I literally said to myself, we are going to South Africa, all the things I never did, right? Remember, I was working too hard, 5 a.m. to midnight, I had no life. So I went a little bit on the other extreme. So if I die tomorrow, let me tell you guys, I have zero regrets. I have done the travel. I have done the crazy things. But anyway, that's me. That's a little bit of me being extreme. So maybe be in the middle is what I would say.
Yeah. Yes. I think because you have gone through so much and you have that self-revelation, and I think that's good also to also to impart to people and to tell them that there are more things to life. And life, like YOLO, you only live once.
Yeah.
And you make your life to the fullest in a sense. Yeah. And mental health is so very important. Yeah. Your well-being.
Yes.
Basically.
And guys, that is for me, like the investing in yourself is the priceless thing. We talk a lot about mental health, and a lot of people struggle with that stuff on their own, but
Yeah.
things like therapy, things like meditation, these are things that we should do. I mean, that's what I believe personally, right? We should, again, we are so good at doing things for other people. We sit there, we listen to their problems, we solve their problems. It's like, do we do that for ourselves?
Yeah.
So this is, this is the thing that I also gotta tell myself, I gotta do more, right? Because I spend all my time helping clients. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I should think about my retirement. This is the hashtag real talk.
We'll have a separate discussion later.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, Amanda, to cut you short.
Yeah.
For the interest of time, I think that will be the end of the Q&A.
Yeah.
Thank you all participants for your questions. Maybe I will set aside a Q&A questions for Amanda and see what kind of questions we can she can answer, and then we can address them in a following up email. Oh wait, one more last question. Sorry.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, last question. So is there a particular investment that I know you mentioned that indexes is something that you try to do last time and it's a full-time job, right? Is there any particular investment advice that you want to give up to female entrepreneurs out there or females out there into reaching towards their financial goals, startup capital?
I think I work backwards. I think I went and budgeted, like, how much do I need to survive, like, and really think about, that's what they say, right? Have the end goal in mind. Have the how much do I need to survive on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, and multiply that by the number of years that you need, and think about that number, because anything above that number is nice to have, and that might give you the risk appetite that you need, because you'll realize, ladies, we don't need a lot. If you want to buy luxury bags and all that kind of stuff, right, and go to nice dinners every single day, then that's a different lifestyle. But if you want to survive and think more about, I guess, your happiness, building something for yourself, there's very little that you need. So go and calculate that number, and it might be a very freeing number for you, because it was for me.
Right. Thank you so much, Amanda. Really, it's really informative. I think I'm also inspired. Maybe I also want to start up my own business, but right. Thank you so much, Amanda, for your time and sharing with us. For those who are interested, do check out August Bespoke. If you have your Instagram or Facebook, you can just search August Bespoke handle. The contact details will also be posted in the chat box too, just in case you missed out. Thank you, Amanda.
Guys, and if you guys can take a photo, Priscilla, maybe you should put us back on the screen. If you guys can take a photo and post a story and tag me, I would super appreciate it. Then I know who's actually listening, right? Because right now, like, Priscilla and I are like talking to the screen and we don't get to see you. So it would be nice to connect with you, like, ladies, on Instagram.
Yeah, see you there. Thanks. Hashtags.
Tag.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. So now we're moving on. So UOB Asset Management has our very own retail robo-advisor app called UOBAM Invest. If you are new to UOBAM Invest, please feel free to scan the QR code shown on the screen with your mobile phone to download and try out our retail robo-advisory app. The download link is also available in the chat box. With minimum $1, you can start investing your way with UOBAM Invest. There is no lock-in period and there is no withdrawal fee. UOBM Invest is customizable to your risk profile, goals, and investment horizon. If you're our existing UOBAM Invest client, thank you for your support. We currently have a special promotion for ladies only. Receive a one-time $200 August Bespoke custom jewelry voucher when you top up a minimum amount of 10K in your UOBAM Invest account. This is valid for the first 10 eligible female customers. The last I checked with the team, there are still some places left. So, I mean, if you want to start your investment journey and you're interested in August Bespoke customer jewelry, why not kill two birds with one stone, start investing and get $200 voucher. So now, this is very special. Last but not least, UOBAM Invest has an exclusive promotion for you attendees of this webinar. You are the first to know of this special promotion. For the first 1,000 new signups, will receive $10 credit into your UOBM Invest account. All you need to do is to complete a minimum sign up on UOBM Invest. Do refer to your friends and family if you're already our existing client. For more information of this exclusive promotion, the TNC link is available in the chat box. Yes. So I give you a couple more seconds to scan and download the app. Right. Okay, now to reward for those who are still with us, it's quiz time. In team of empowering female entrepreneurs in Singapore, there are only two $20 Love Bonito gift cards up for grabs. Kindly note that only Singapore residents can qualify for the prizes as the gift cards are only redeemable in Singapore. So sorry. So only for Singapore residents. Remember, this is a special one. It's a $20 Love Bonito gift card. Are you guys ready? So a bit of a housekeeping rules. To qualify for this quiz, kindly state your name and email address along with the option answer in the chat sent to all panelists. I repeat, kindly state your name, email address, along with the option answer in the chat sent to all panelists. I see you, Alison. You typed in your name already. So all winners, please stay back for a couple of minutes for us to confirm your details at the end of the webinar. A little tip for you as I'm talking now, you can start typing your name and email address. And when you see the MCQ option, quickly pop in your answer in the chat. Are you ready? And the first question is, you gotta state your name, email address, and your option answer. Okay, the first question is, reaching an equal number of women-owned businesses and men-owned businesses in Singapore could increase Singapore's GDP by, quickly. Sorry, my team will confirm. The answer is C. Is it? Oh, okay. I think it's Chailin. Lim Chailin. Yeah. Sorry, you have to put your name, your email address, and the option answer to qualify for the quiz. So congratulations, Lim Chailin. And the second question, the last question. What is the name of the UOBAM's Robo Advisor mobile app and how much is the minimum amount to invest? Quickly, guys. Yes, it's sorry, confirming. Who is it? Martinio Teo. Congratulations, Martinio Teo. You are the winner. Congratulations to all the winners. Please stay back for a couple of minutes for us to confirm your details. Well, we'd like to hear from you. Please leave us a feedback after leaving this webinar. Thank you for attending our webinar, and please keep a lookout for our future webinars coming up. Special thanks to our today's guest speaker, Amanda Ang. She's so inspirational. We have learned so much from her. Thank you, Amanda, for your time spending with us.
Hope you have fun. Tag me on Instagram. Keep in touch. Let me know how, if you guys start your own business, I would love to support you. Right? Hear about it.
Yeah, female business support system is very important. The networking is super important. Yes. Remember, guys, to be a cheerleader for every female entrepreneur that you know, or any female-owned businesses that you know, support them. Go there. Yeah. Right. Thank you so much for joining us in this webinar. Have a good lunch. Take care. And this will be the end of our webinar. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.